Historically, Samsung was South Korea's undisputed technology champion, the country's most valuable company, its biggest chipmaker, its global corporate icon. But Samsung now has been overtaken. And the company that did, it wasn't a startup really. It was a smaller rival, SK Hynix. SK Hynix has surpassed Samsung Electronics to become South Korea's most valuable listed company. And the reason can be traced back to a decision that was made more than a decade ago, a decision to bet on a niche memory chip that most people had never even heard of. The chip is called high bandwidth memory, or HBM. Founded in 1983 as Hyundai Electronics, the company spent decades fighting through crisis, restructuring, and ownership changes. In 2001, collapsing chip prices pushed it to the brink of bankruptcy. It was eventually rescued by creditor banks led by state-owned lenders. The company's future was so uncertain that creditors repeatedly tried to sell their stakes. At one point, even American chip giant Micron explored a takeover. A decade later, SK Group stepped in. At the time, SK was best known for telecoms and energy, and many investors thought that the acquisition by itself was a mistake. The semiconductor industry was notoriously cyclical. It required massive capital spending, and profits could disappear overnight. Even Standard & Poor's warned about the risk and assigned a negative outlook after the acquisition. But SK Group chairman Chae Tae-won saw something others didn't. He wasn't buying a memory company. He was buying an opportunity to build a semiconductor champion. While much of the industry focused on traditional memory chips, SK Hynix continued investing in HBM technology. Now, that decision looked risky at the time. By the late 2010s, SK Hynix wasn't just betting on HBM. It was betting real money on it. The company poured roughly around $640 million into dedicated packaging facilities and related infrastructure. The idea was to build capacity before demand arrived. Then in 2019, demand collapsed. Nvidia orders weakened, cryptocurrency mining slowed, and the new facility sat underutilized. The investment that was supposed to define the future became a burden. Former HBM development chief Shim Dae-yong later bluntly described it as a quote-unquote headache back in 2019. Then everything changed in late 2022. OpenAI released ChatGPT, and overnight, the world discovered AI. And suddenly, one thing everyone needed was high bandwidth memory. The technology that looked obsolete in 2019 became absolutely indispensable in 2023. The factory that once sat underutilized suddenly couldn't produce enough. And the $640 million gamble that once looked like a mistake became one of the most successful bets in semiconductor history. As Shim later put it, and I quote, "No one expected the HBM market would post such explosive growth. But we were ready in terms of performance and capacity." And suddenly, HBM became one of the most important components inside AI servers. Every advanced AI accelerator and every major AI data center needed it, and SK Hynix was ready as ever. The breakthrough came when SK Hynix emerged as a leading supplier of HBM chips for NVIDIA's AI accelerators. As demand for AI infrastructure exploded after the launch of ChatGPT, demand for HBM exploded alongside it. What was once a niche product became one of the most valuable technologies in the semiconductor industry. And SK Hynix found itself sitting right at the center of the AI supply chain. Now, the company controls a dominant share of the global HBM market and has become one of the biggest beneficiaries of the AI boom. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the front page take on this. The turnaround is absolutely remarkable. 20 years ago, SK Hynix was struggling under debt, and it was literally fighting for survival. Today, the company has seen its market value surge as investors increasingly view it as a critical AI infrastructure player rather than a traditional memory manufacturer. Meanwhile, Samsung is still trying to strengthen its position in the HBM market as competition intensifies. SK Hynix understood that shift before most of the industry, and it placed its bet It was a bet that looked risky for years. The question is, how many companies are sitting on today's niche technology that could become tomorrow's AI goldmine? The world is moving fast, ladies and gentlemen. We are watching every move. I'm Antra. That's your global AI and tech roundup for today. Let us know what you think in the comments below. This is Front Page by AI Network. Like, share, and subscribe. And always remember, think AI, think AIM.